Everyone who played Deltarune saw this weird ending which explained just nothing. But I have some things how I can explain this ending. In this video I'll put in some stuff which could be important for the explanation. Hello everybody, I am the Kaito and welcome to a new video. This ending freaked many people out and nobody really knows what this means. I know that there are already some explanations for this ending, but I haven't watched these yet. First, I wanted to do something about it. So let's get this started. As you probably know, or maybe not, Deltarune is not directly connected to Undertale. The events in Undertale still happened, and we now also know which ending is canon in Undertale. It is the soulless true pacifist route. So Frisk killed everyone at first playthrough, then went back, sold his soul to Chara, and then made a true pacifist. Well, so far so good. Now we are in Deltarune. Everyone in Undertale lived their lives, and in Deltarune everyone lived a different life, which Toby Fox confirmed. But I have some guesses here how this still could be connected to Undertale. In the ending, where Chris is ripping out the soul and throw it into the cage, we still can do some things. If we move the arrow buttons on the keyboard, the soul is moving too. So what does this mean? We are playing Chris the whole time in the game. Every one of the characters are reacting if you ask some stuff or try to give answers. Some are even wondering because Chris is behaving a little bit different as it seems when we play him. So Chris is more or less a weirdo for some people. But we still need to ask the question, what does this mean? What I think about all this, that Chris haven't ripped out his soul from his body. He ripped out the soul of the player. We are controlling him and Chris doesn't seem to like this really much. It could be also the soul of Frisk. Why? Well, the player is controlling Frisk and you cannot spell the name Chris without the name Frisk, you know. The soul is red too, like the soul of Frisk. We can also assume that Chris is indeed Chara. Chara took the soul from Frisk after the genocide route because he wanted to recreate the world again, and then he did the true pacifist route. We can also think that Chris has the body of Frisk and both are fighting each other who is in control of the body. It also seems that Chara can take over Frisk's body and even can change it so it looks like him. Like we saw in the soulless true pacifist route when you stay with Toriel. But this whole game is not connected to Undertale. So why should this be connected? It's pretty simple. We can assume that there are three people knowing that these worlds are just in a game and probably Deltarune is a totally different timeline from Undertale. The three people who are knowing about that this is just a game are Frisk, Chara and Flowey, or Asriel. If we reach the end of the Dark World, we see that Ralsei is revealing himself and it seems that Ralsei is indeed Asriel. Ralsei also said the exactly same line at the beginning of the tutorial which Flowey did when you first encounter him. So we can assume that Ralsei or Asriel also know that this is all just a game. But Ralsei is saying to Chris to be nice to the enemies and that he needs to spare them. Asriel also knows what kind of guy Chara or Chris is, and he probably wants to show him that being nice to others really is a better way instead of just killing them. But, and this is really important, we are playing Chris, we as the players, or the player. We saw the red soul, and the red soul still belongs to Frisk in some ways. It could be that Frisk is in charge while we are playing Chris. And because Frisk is not acting by himself, because the player is controlling him, we as the players are controlling Chris. Sounds confusing? It is pretty simply in some ways. For example, if we talk to Sans, we can either give him the answer, "Great to see you again," or "Who the hell are you?" We as the player are knowing who Sans is, and Frisk also knows that. And that's the reason why we can assume that the parts where we control Chris are the parts where Frisk's soul is in charge of his body. Because we have played Frisk before in Undertale and we know the characters from Undertale. So that's the reason why we can give this kind of answer. It could also be that Sans also know that this is a different timeline, but that would be stuff for another theory. If you're still not sure about this stuff, think about something else. When we are about to give an answer or asking a question, we see the red soul as some kind of a cursor which leads to an answer. So the soul is controlling Chris in these parts, and this soul is not his soul because he is getting forced to say these kind of things. The next and the last thing I want to talk about is that bird cage in Chris' room. He threw the soul in the bird cage, which we saw at the very beginning of the game, and the bird cage is open at the very beginning. We can assume that Chris locked away the soul, but the soul broke free shortly before the game starts. And at the end of the game, the soul got locked away again in this little bird cage, waiting for another breakout so Frisk can get back in control. Does this all make sense to you? What do you think what this ending means? Put some comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I'm the Kaito, and I will see you in the next video. See you soon and bye bye.